I would be understating it if I tried to chuckle, but it sounds insincere. What's the worst thing? You know, I had no idea what I was searching for. I believed I desired excitement and independence. I merely wanted to feel special again. It turns out, hey there, I'm Sylvia. I stare at my reflection in the bathroom mirror, scrutinizing the fine lines around my eyes. 45 doesn't look bad on me. I've kept myself fit. My shoulder-length brown hair is expertly highlighted, and my corporate wardrobe is always on point. But something feels missing. Honey, have you seen my blue tie? Dominic calls from our walk-in closet. His voice carries that familiar, comfortable tone that used to make me feel safe. Now, it just reminds me of routine. Endless routine. Check the dry cleaning bag, I reply automatically, applying another coat of mascara. Another morning, another perfectly coordinated outfit. Another day of predictability stretching ahead of me like an endless highway. The house feels eerily quiet without the kids. Jamie's doing his second year at Stanford, and Emma's loving freshman life at NYU. They were always our buffer, our shared purpose. Now it's just us, and the silence is deafening. I walk downstairs to find Dominic at the kitchen island, scrolling through his phone while sipping coffee. He looks good for his age, silver threading through his dark hair, still fit from his regular tennis matches. We're the perfect power couple on paper. Both senior executives, beautiful home in the suburbs, successful kids, healthy retirement accounts. Dom, I say, my heart racing despite my calm exterior. We need to talk. He reads something in my tone and looks up. Is everything all right? I put my hands around my own coffee mug as I sit across from him. No, it isn't. This has been on my mind for several months. I'm not happy. What are you saying? He puts his phone down and focuses entirely on me. That's Dominic, always willing to fix problems. We've become roommates, Dom. Everything's comfortable, planned, secure. But where's the passion? The excitement? When was the last time we did something spontaneous? Sil, we just took that trip to Bali 3 months ago. A meticulously planned luxury vacation isn't spontaneous, I counter, feeling frustration bubble up. I want more. I need more. His brow furrows. What exactly are you saying? I take a deep breath. The words I've rehearsed so many times in my head finally spill out. I want either an open marriage or a divorce. The silence that follows feels thick enough to cut with a knife. Dominic's coffee mug freezes halfway to his lips. You can't be serious, he finally says, his voice carefully controlled. I am. I love you, Dom, but I'm suffocating here. We're both still young enough to find something more. Don't you ever wonder what else is out there? He sets his mug down with deliberate care. So you want to throw away 23 years of marriage because you're bored? It's not about being bored, I protest, even though part of me knows he's right. It's about feeling alive again. We could try opening up the marriage first, see how that feels. No. His response is immediate and firm. I don't share, Sylvia. You know that about me. If you want out, we do it cleanly. But are you sure this is what you want? I stand up, smoothing my skirt. A power move I've perfected in countless boardroom meetings. Yes, I'm sure. We can be adults about this. We've had a good run, but maybe it's time to write new chapters, separately. As I gather my purse and car keys, I feel lighter already. This is what I want. Freedom, adventure, the chance to feel that spark again. I'm Sylvia Harrison, successful, attractive, and finally ready to live life on my own terms. If only I knew then what that freedom would really cost. Guys, I'm Dominic. I've always considered myself a practical man. 23 years of marriage taught me that romance needs a healthy dose of reality to survive. So when Sylvia dropped her bombshell about wanting either an open marriage or divorce, I decided she needed a reality check. We met at Carluccio, our usual Friday dinner spot, a week after her announcement. I'd spent those 7 days doing my homework, talking to divorced friends and reading about dating statistics. Not because I wanted to save our marriage, she'd already killed that, but because someone needed to pull her head out of the clouds. You're really sure about this? I asked, watching her sip her usual Pinot Grigio. She looked confident, almost smug in her new red dress. I recognized that look from countless corporate negotiations. She thought she held all the cards. Absolutely, Sylvia replied, her manicured fingers tracing patterns on the wine glass. Dom, there's a whole world out there. We're both attractive, successful people. Why shouldn't we explore it? I leaned back, loosening my tie. Let's talk about that world you're so eager to explore. Did you know that for women over 40, the dating pool shrinks by about 70% compared to their 30s? She laughed. That dismissive little chuckle she uses when she thinks someone's being ridiculous. Please, I get checked out by younger guys all the time at the gym. Just last week. Looking isn't dating, I interrupted, and hookups aren't relationships. Trust me, as a man who's talked to plenty of divorced friends, there's a big difference between guys who will sleep with you and guys who will build a life with you. You're just trying to scare me, she said, but I caught the slight falter in her voice. I'm trying to prepare you. You think being a successful woman in her 40s is an advantage? In the corporate world, sure. But in the dating world, men our age are either married or looking for women in their 30s. The ones who are available often come with enough baggage to fill a 747. Sylvia straightened her spine. Her power pose. Well then, I'll date younger men. I'm fit, I'm financially independent, and you'll be competing with women 15 years younger who want the same guys. I cut in. Look, I'm not saying you can't find someone, but this fantasy you've built about having men lined up around the block, that's not reality. You seem to have thought about this a lot, she said sarcastically. Worried about your own prospects? I couldn't help but laugh. Honey, I'm a man in my 40s with a successful career and no debt. I'll do fine, but I'm not the one thinking this is going to be some romantic comedy where everyone's lining up to date me. You're being condescending, she snapped. I'm being realistic. You want hookups? Sure, you'll find them. Meaningful relationships? That's a different story. Men looking for serious relationships in our age group usually want someone younger, especially if they want kids. Not everyone wants kids, she argued. No, but most want the option. Look, I'm not trying to change your mind. You want out? Fine, but don't walk away thinking it's going to be some fantastic adventure where you'll have your pick of men. The dating world has changed since we were 20. She sat there silently for a moment, swirling her wine. I could see her running calculations in her head, like she did before every major business decision. You think you'll do better? She finally asked, a challenge in her voice. I think we'll both find out, won't we? I signaled for the check. But remember this conversation in a few years when reality doesn't match your expectations. How about we make it interesting? Sylvia leaned forward, that competitive gleam in her eye. 5 years from today, same time, same place. We'll see who's really better off. I studied her face. The face I'd woken up to for 23 years. She really had no idea what she was walking into. But some lessons you have to learn the hard way. Deal, I said, signing the check. 5 years, same table. Hope you're ready to eat some humble pie. As I watched her walk out of the restaurant, I felt a mixture of sadness and resignation. She'd always been stubborn, always had to learn things the hard way. This would be her hardest lesson yet. I hate admitting I'm wrong. Ask anyone who knows me. I'd rather eat glass than acknowledge a mistake. But sitting here in my empty condo, scrolling through dating apps for the 100th time, I'm starting to think I might have monumentally screwed up. It wasn't supposed to be like this. The divorce went smoothly enough. When you're both high earners with grown kids, it's mostly just paperwork. I kept the condo in the city. He got the house in the suburbs. We split everything else down the middle. Clean, professional, just like us. You're a catch, my friend Diana insisted when I first dipped my toe in the dating pool. Successful, independent, attractive. Men will love that. Yeah, right. The first few months weren't terrible. I had some dates, mostly with divorced men my age, who spent the entire evening either complaining about their exes or bragging about their golf handicaps. But then I saw Dominic at a charity gala 6 months after our divorce. He was with someone young. Her name's Sally. Emma, my daughter, told me later. She's 38. Dad met her at some volunteer thing. My own daughter sounded impressed. She's really nice, Mom. Has a daughter who adores Dad. That's when I made my first big mistake. I decided to start dating younger men. Listen, there's nothing wrong with being a cougar if that's genuinely your thing. But when you're doing it out of spite and insecurity, that's a recipe for disaster. Hey, beautiful, want to grab a drink? Messages would pop up from guys in their early 30s. They'd take me to loud bars, show me off to their friends like some trophy, then ghost me after a few weeks. One had the nerve to ask if I'd help him with his resume. You're just picking the wrong ones, Diana would say. Easy for her. She'd been married to the same man since college. The real wake-up call came at my company's holiday party. I brought Tyler, a 34-year-old personal trainer I'd been seeing for a few weeks. He spent the entire evening asking which executives made the most money and if we had any job openings in sales. Miss Harrison, my assistant said the next morning, clearly uncomfortable, about last night, Tyler was hitting on the interns at the bar. That's when I realized what I'd become. A punchline, the desperate divorcee trying to recapture her youth. The same type of woman I used to privately judge at corporate events. But the dating apps for my age group weren't any better. Men my age wanted women 10 years younger. The ones who didn't were usually hiding something. A gambling addiction, a drinking problem, a wife. Maybe you should take a break from dating, Jamie suggested during one of our weekly calls. My son giving me dating advice. How had I ended up here? Meanwhile, Dominic's life seemed to be a highlight reel of happiness. Social media showed him volunteering, traveling, looking fit and relaxed. Pictures of him with Sally and her daughter at basketball games, school events, family outings. They got married last month. Emma showed me pictures from the wedding. They looked radiant. I've started therapy recently. Dr. Cohen says I'm going through a journey of self-discovery. Fancy words for cleaning up your own mess. What were you really looking for when you ended your marriage? She asked in our last session. I didn't have an answer then. Still don't. Adventure? Passion? Freedom? Whatever it was, I haven't found it in the rotating door of meaningless dates and superficial connections. The 5-year mark is approaching next week. I'll have to walk into Carluccio and face Dominic, face the reality that he was right, face the fact that I threw away something real chasing an illusion. The worst part? I did this to myself. No one to blame but the woman in the mirror who thought the grass would be greener on the other side. Turns out it wasn't grass at all. Just artificial turf that looked good from a distance but felt fake under your feet. I close the dating app and pour myself a glass of wine. Tomorrow, I'll probably download it again, still hoping for something. But tonight, I let myself remember what it felt like to be part of a real partnership. To be loved for who I was, not what I could offer. God, I hate being wrong. Everyone thinks getting divorced is the hard part. It's not. The hard part is the morning after the papers are signed, when you wake up in your empty house and realize you have to rebuild your life from scratch. But here's what I knew that Sylvia didn't. Sometimes you need to break something down completely before you can build it back better. For the first year, I kept to myself. Sure, there were casual dates, meaningless hookups that left me feeling emptier than before, but I wasn't interested in jumping into another relationship. Instead, I focused on myself. You're different, my tennis partner Mark commented one morning after I'd beaten him for the 3rd time that month. More focused. He was right. I threw myself into self-improvement with the same intensity I brought to closing business deals. Hit the gym 5 times a week, took up meditation, started volunteering at the local Veterans Support Center. Not to attract women, though that happened naturally, but because I needed to figure out who Dominic Coleman was outside of being Sylvia's husband. That's where I met Sally. She came to the center every Thursday, helping veterans' families navigate the bureaucratic maze of benefits and support services. Her husband, David, had been a Marine Corps captain, killed in action 3 years earlier. She wasn't looking for a relationship either, just trying to honor his memory by helping others. "Mom, you're late!" Beth, her 12-year-old daughter, would call out from the center's small library where she did her homework. Smart kid reminded me of Emma at that age. It started slowly. Coffee after volunteer shifts. Conversations about grief and healing. Walking Beth to her school bus when Sally had early meetings. No pressure, no expectations. "You're good with her," Sally said one day, watching me help Beth with her math homework. "I miss having a kid around," I admitted. "Mine are all grown up now." 3 months turned into 6. 6 months became a year. Somewhere along the way, casual friendship evolved into something deeper. Sally understood loss in a way few people did. Not just death, but the loss of the future you thought you'd have. "I'm divorced," I told her on our first official date. "My ex-wife wanted more excitement." Sally laughed, not unkindly. "I think I've had enough excitement for one lifetime. I'll take steady and reliable any day." That's when I knew. This woman saw value in exactly what Sylvia had rejected. Beth took longer to win over. Can't blame her. She'd already lost one father figure. But we bonded over basketball games and science projects. The first time she called me Dad was at a school concert. Completely casual. "Dad, can you see from here?" Like it was the most natural thing in the world. I proposed after 2 years. Simple, private, with Beth's blessing. No grand gestures needed. We both had enough drama in our lives. "You've been watching Mom's wedding feeds, haven't you?" Emma asked during one of our weekly calls. My daughter, always perceptive. "Once or twice," I admitted. Sylvia's social media was a parade of increasingly younger dates, each one screaming midlife crisis louder than the last. "She's not happy, Dad." "That's not my problem anymore, sweetheart." The wedding was small. Family, close friends, the people from the Veterans Center. Beth insisted on being both flower girl and best man. Somehow, she pulled it off perfectly. Sally was radiant in a simple cream dress. No grand white gown needed. "Think your ex-wife will show up for that 5-year meeting?" Sally asked. "Probably." Sylvia never could resist a challenge. I pulled her closer. "But that's next month's problem." As I drift off to sleep, I think about how life surprises you. 5 years ago, I thought my chance at happiness had walked out the door with Sylvia. Now I realize it was just making room for something better. Not more exciting, not more dramatic, but real. Solid. The kind of love that builds you up instead of wearing you down. Sometimes freedom isn't about breaking away. Sometimes it's about finding the right place to anchor. 5 years. 1,825 days since I blew up my marriage. Now I'm standing outside Carluccio, watching Dominic through the window. He's at our old table, looking annoyingly good in a well-fitted suit. The silver in his hair suits him. Distinguished rather than aging. My hands are shaking as I check my reflection in my phone. I've aged 5 years too, though I fought it with everything from Botox to personal trainers. Still attractive, still successful, still alone. The universe has a sick sense of humor. "Mrs. Harrison," the hostess smiles. Or Miss Harrison now, I believe. Even the staff knows my story. Fantastic. Dominic stands as I approach, ever the gentleman. "Sylvia," he says warmly, and something inside me cracks a little. No bitterness, no smugness, just genuine warmth for someone he used to love. "You look well," I manage, sliding into my seat. The same table, the same wine list. Everything's the same, except us. "So do you," he replies, and I appreciate the lie. "Would you like some wine?" I shake my head. I need a clear head for this conversation. Plus, I don't trust myself with alcohol right now. "How are Sally and Beth?" His face lights up, that special glow reserved for people truly in love. "They're wonderful. Beth just started high school. She's on the debate team, actually. Reminds me of Emma at that age." Of course she does. Of course he got a ready-made family while I got, what exactly? A collection of dating horror stories and a therapist on speed dial? "I've been following your posts," I admit. "You seem happy." "I am." He studies me for a moment. "Are you?" The question hits like a punch to the gut. 5 years ago, I would have lied. Now? No, I say simply, you were right. About everything. He doesn't gloat. Somehow, that makes it worse. The dating world changed a lot since we were young. That's an understatement. I attempt to laugh, but it comes out hollow. You know what the worst part is? I didn't even know what I was looking for. I thought I wanted freedom, excitement. Turns out I just wanted to feel special again. You were always special, Sil. I hold up my hand. Please don't be nice about this. I made a massive mistake. I threw away 23 years because I was bored and entitled and thought the world owed me some grand romance. Silence settles between us, heavy with unspoken words. Through the window, I watch a young couple walking hand in hand, lost in their own world. I'm happy for you, I finally say, meaning it despite the ache in my chest. Sally seems wonderful. You deserve that. Thank you. He hesitates, then adds, you deserve to be happy too, you know. I shake my head, smiling sadly. What I deserve and what I get are two very different things. But I'm learning to live with my choices. The waiter approaches, but Dominic waves him away. We both know this meeting isn't about dinner. Well, I stand up, smoothing my skirt. I believe I owe you some humble pie. Consider it served. He rises too. Take care of yourself, Sylvia. On impulse, I reach out and straighten his tie. An old habit from another life. You too, Dom. Walking out of Carluccio, I don't look back. My heels click against the pavement, each step echoing with what-ifs and should-haves. However, there is a peculiar aspect to at last acknowledging the reality. Certain liberties have costs that are too high to bear. You learn certain things too late. One of us, at least, had a happy ending.